Here is a figure that has been prepared in Illustrator CS3. What I'm about to do for saving the image would be similar in other versions of Adobe Illustrator. First, what you would want to do is save the image as an Illustrator file. So make sure you save that as an Illustrator file before continuing. Next, what you would want to do is make sure that your lettering is not in fonts. I'll describe that in just a second here. So first, what you want to do is select everything, and then under type you would want to create outlines. Outlines are created over your fonts so that when you send it to the printer doesn't have to have your font in order to print your figure. Next, you would want to link all of these images so that the images are embedded into the figure. And so if you go to links and double click on that box, you can see that everything here is selected. Click on the upper left drop down arrow, and you can't see this, it's outside the screen, but then you would click Embed Image. Now if you cannot find Embed Image, or if it's grayed out, it means then that your images are already embedded. This way the images are included with your file. Finally, if you need to save at a resolution other than 300 pixels per inch, or whatever pixel size you chose, or pixel print resolution you chose for your page, you go to Effect, Rasterize, and in the Rasterize box you would choose another resolution. In this instance we chose 400 pixels per inch. I typed this in, 400 pixels per inch. That was the requirement from the journal. And then if this happened to have been a grayscale image, I could choose the grayscale color model. Instead, I'm going to choose RGB because it's in color. And then finally, what I would want to do is crop the extraneous page from this image. So if I click on the crop tool, I can then create a crop and then move it by clicking on each one of the corners to get it as tight around the image as possible. And then now I can save it. So under File, Save As, I'm going to save it as a Illustrator, or I've already saved the Illustrator file, so I'll save it as an EPS file for publication. And then click my Save As. So that would be the file then that I would send to the publisher, and there's not anything you really need to do here. Just say OK. And it will write the Illustrator format, the EPS format for publication. If I do File, Save As, I can also save it as a PDF. And you would want to save it as a PDF so that you can either use it independently as a PDF or open it later in the professional version of Acrobat. So I'm going to save it as a PDF. But here I'm going to pay a great deal of attention to the dialog box that comes later. If I simply want to save it so that I can open it in Adobe Acrobat and then save it from Acrobat as a TIFF or a JPEG, I would unclick Preserve Illustrator Editing Capabilities. We don't need page thumbnails, and we don't need to create Acrobat layers. On compression, we can keep that to do not downsample. In other words, leave the resolution as we have it, and then you can save the PDF. Now that PDF that you save can be opened then either in Photoshop or, again, like I said, in Acrobat, and it can be saved as a TIFF or a JPEG. Or again, you can come here and you can export under File, and you can export then in various formats, again as a JPEG or as a PNG Photoshop file. So here's a JPEG, and then those files can be opened in Microsoft programs. The JPEG would be opened in Microsoft programs, and then the TIFF file could also be sent to the publisher. You can't see the TIFF file, it's further down the drop-down list, but you could send that to the publisher as well. So there are your options for saving.